All right, guys, so it's time to talk about some policy. And I have unfortunately strayed away from talking about policy because we've had more culture war stuff going on in the past few weeks. But, I'm going to get back to talking about policy because, I think that's probably the most important part of my channel. That's what I'm proud of the most, right? Is talking about the legislation. What's actually going on? What is the government trying to do, or what are they not trying to do? Okay. And the slogan for the Biden administration at this point should be promises made, promises broken. Okay. And the progressives are going to be pissed with this broken promise. Okay. They're going to be pissed about this. I can't wait to see the reaction from the progressives when they found out that Biden gave them another slip. He gave them another slip because it looks like that Biden's budget reportedly won't include the student loan debt forgiveness he campaigned on. Remember, guys, Biden campaigned on forgiving like $10,000 of student loan debt, although the progressives wanted him to go a lot further. They wanted him to go a whole lot further. Okay, they wanted him to cancel all student debt, right? And some progressive proposals call for him to cancel up to like $70,000 or something like that, right? But, Biden hasn't really been too keen on really doing anything about this, even though this was a major reason why a lot of progressives and a lot of young people showed up to vote for him. That is a reason why a lot of people showed up, okay? Because they were promised student loan debt forgiveness. So let's read a little bit more about this, and I'm gonna give you guys my opinion on this, because I think that this promise right here, if Biden breaks this promise, I think it's over for the Democrats in 2022. So let's read here. When he was campaigning for president, President Joe Biden said he would support $10,000 in student loan cancellation per person. It looks like he's not planning on following through on that promise anytime soon. The Washington Post reported on Friday that in Biden's upcoming budget proposal, many of the health care promises he made during his campaign, like cutting prescription drug costs, won't be included. For people familiar with the matter, another major promise, canceling $10,000 in student debt, also didn't make the cut. The proposal will include many specifics than Biden's skinny budget release in April. The president's budget will focus on advancing the historical legislative agenda he's already put forward for this year. Rob Finlander, spokesman for the White House Budget Office, told the Post, quote, "The budget won't propose other new initiatives, but will put together the full picture of how these proposals would advance economic growth and shared prosperity while also putting our country on a sound fiscal course." Insider reported on April 7th that Biden has yet to follow through on two student debt promises from his campaign: to cancel $10,000 in student debt per person and to cancel student debt for undergraduates at public colleges and historically black colleges and universities. In a speech on November 16, Biden said that student loans are holding borrowers up and forgiving $10,000 in student debt should be done immediately. His campaign website also said the president would work with Democrats to authorize up to $10,000 in student debt relief per borrower as part of the COVID-19 relief, but the $1.9 trillion stimulus package he signed in March didn't include that. Neither did his $4 trillion infrastructure proposal. And while he said he would support legislation brought to him to cancel $10,000 in student debt, Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts said in a press call last month that doing so is lengthy and expensive. And while she has legislation to do it, there's no reason Biden can't use executive action to provide the immediate relief he had promised. Warren is one of the leading lawmakers calling on Biden to cancel $50,000 in student debt per borrower through executive action. And while Biden said he doesn't believe he has that authority, he has asked the Educational Department and the Justice Department to review his ability to do so. All right, guys. So here's the thing. The Democrats have taken baby steps to cancel student loan debt, right? They've included provisions in the COVID-19 relief bill that kind of paves the way for them to do so. But it's one of those things they just have not really moved on, although it's something that if they really wanted to do, they could have just done it through legislation. I mean, straight up. I mean, why they didn't do it in the COVID-19 relief package, I don't know, right? And then with this infrastructure package, it's not there either. And guys, I'm not saying this because I'm rooting for him to, forgive student loan debt, even though it would benefit me, right? If he wants to forgive all my debt, hey, I'm not going to cry about it. Even though I don't agree with it, I think that, people should pay back their loans. In principle, I think that that's what people should do. But, at the same time, it's one of those things that I am curious as to why is it that he hasn't done more than what he's done so far. He's done a little bit when it comes to this issue, right? Because, again, this is why a lot of progressives and young people voted for Biden, because he campaigned on this. And if he folds on this issue, guys, he's not going to have that same voter turnout come 2022. This is one of the issues that if the Democrats don't do this, it will definitely cost them, right? It will cost them. And guys, they've already reneged on multiple promises in their campaign, right? Namely, the $2,000 stimulus checks and the $15 an hour minimum wage. And I don't think Biden even mentioned student loans in his joint address to Congress. Okay. And if they keep reneging on all these promises, at this point, again, they're going to lose a lot of the voters that they gained in 2020. They're going to lose a lot of that. And they don't have Trump to campaign against in 2022 to get people to come out and vote. And again, like I've told you guys, the Democrats are basically one midterm election away from putting a nail in the Republican Party. Okay, if they gain more seats in the House and the Senate, they can either make DC a state, they can remove the filibuster, they can pass that Voting Rights Act. They can do so many things that, again, would be a nail in the coffin for the Republicans. Okay, but in order for them to actually win, if they want to win, they have to execute on promises like this. Okay, they just have to. And again, guys, I just want to make it clear, I'm not necessarily rooting for it. I don't think it's right for them to do this. I'm just talking from a political perspective. It's almost like, again, the Republicans let Democrats get layups, and the Democrats just miss the layups that they are given. And I think that the Republicans should take advantage of something like this, right? Take advantage of the fact that Biden's dropping the ball when it comes to this issue that's very important to those, on the left and for young people. I think Mitt Romney and Kyrsten Sinema might be working on a way to make college more affordable, some legislation for that, right? I don't understand why they don't advertise that, hey, we're working on these solutions, we're working on these problems. At some point, the GOP has to realize that everything can't just be the culture war, right? All your policies can't just revolve around things that, really are not that important, okay? Don't get me wrong, some of the stuff is important, but you have to expand the base eventually, okay? You got to win over some young people. And I'm not saying they should be on board with student loan forgiveness, but what I'm saying is that this is an issue that obviously is important. They should have a solution. They should be taking advantage of the fact that Biden is hesitant to execute on a campaign promise, and they should be advertising whatever their solution is. Now, will the progressives be satisfied with their solution? No. But at the same time, if they're working to try to make college less expensive, which they definitely should be trying to do, okay, that's something that they should be putting out to the forefront, okay, because college being so expensive is a problem. The federal government giving out all these grants and just giving out all these loans to these colleges has incentivized them to bloat the administrative costs, okay, and the value and the return on investment from a degree has not risen, okay? So there's a problem with our education system in four-year college and universities, and I think the Republicans need to, again, the culture war is important, but for once, let's just focus on some policy. Let's focus on some things that are actually really going to help people in their pockets, that are going to solve some problems. I'm so serious about that. Republicans, again, they let Democrats get layups, and the Democrats just miss layups. It's time for the Republicans to start trying to make some layups. Try to score some points for once, okay? Because, Biden is indecisive about this. If he doesn't pass this, it's going to be one of those things that, again, it's going to be hard to imagine a lot of people being excited to come out and vote for more Democrats in 2022 if they can't get this done. They didn't even get the $15 hour minimum wage done. Again, things like that. Now, the Republicans did, propose raising the minimum wage, I think, to $10 or $11 an hour, plus having like an e-verify system in order to make it hard for companies to hire illegal immigrants. So in my opinion, I think the Republicans need to take advantage of this indecisiveness from Joe Biden and try to win some young voters over, when it comes to this issue of the affordability of college. But until then, it looks like the Biden administration is going to continue to break promises. And regardless of what the GOP does, I think that this will end up hurting them if they don't execute on this promise. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.